Hi all, so welcome back to my channel, The Embedded Concepts. So if you are new to my channel, so myself Munindra, so I'm a blogger who will be sharing the information on embedded concepts. So as you have seen the information from thumbnail, so this video is all about sharing the information on interview questions on embedded C part number 1. So as a revised topic, I'm splitting them into different parts. So if you are going through the questions, you will be automatically covering both C programming as well as embedded C2. So what are you waiting for? So let's get started. So as discussed, so this video is all about sharing the information on embedded C interview questions on topic wise. So this is part number 1. So before going on to the video, so the most frequently asked questions, I have colored them in the red color. So try to make a note of them as they were frequently asked questions. So now let's get started. Question number 1. Types of programming languages. Basically, there are two types of programming languages. First one is low level and the second one is high level. And again, low level is subcategorized into two types. It is machine level and the next one is the assembly language. Question number 2. Tell me about programming languages in detail. For the first one, machine level language. So as we all know, computer is an electronic device so which can understand only the format in the binary language. Example, ones and zeros. Till date, the machine level language is not used. Why? Because of its disadvantages. Now let's have a look on its disadvantages. What mean machine level language not to be used? First one, machine level language is very difficult to understand, is very difficult to write. And the most disadvantage is even if we make any single mistake in one of the digit, it will go to the biggest fault. So that's the reason no one attempts to write the program in binary format, because it's difficult to write and it's difficult to understand. And the second one, machine level programs are not portable. Why? Because each and every system will be having its own retrieving of data as well as its hardware dependency. Let's take an example. One system will be retrieving the data in small endian format and other system will be retrieving the data in big endian format. So that's the reason, while coming to the machine level language, when you're writing the program in one system and we are trying to execute in the other system, it doesn't work. Even if it works, you won't get the correct output of data. You'll be getting the misaligned data. Even the third point resembles the same, like program written in one system can't be executed on the other system. So now here I'm telling you like hardware dependency. Hardware dependency is all about its storage, how will retrieve the data, where it will store the data of different kinds of variables and all the stuff. So don't think what does hardware dependency mean. So hardware dependency mean like storage and how it retrieves the data, where it stores different kinds of data and all the stuff. Coming to the next one is the assembly language. So assembly language is the low level language, so which will be consisting of the instructions which are written in the English language. For example, add, sub, move, push, pop, like whatever instructions you'll be seeing in the microprocessor and microcontrollers. So even assembly language what we have written should needs to be understood by the computer. So in order to make the assembly language to be converted into the machine level language to be understandable by the computer, we need a translator. So the translator which is used to convert the assembly language into the machine level code is nothing but the assembler. So even assembly language is also having some advantages. So the first advantage is easier to write and understand. So it is understandable by the user and he can be feeling easy to write the code. And the next one is execution is faster. Most of the people will be asking question, why execution of assembly language is faster? So now let me reveal you the answer. Coming to the assembly instructions, they are stored in the register of the system. Like each and every system will be having its own set of registers. Coming to the assembly language, it will be stored in the register itself. So whenever a particular data is stored in the register, the particular system will retrieve the data fast. So whenever the system retrieves the data fast, the execution will be faster. So that's the reason assembly language execution will be faster, as it stores its data in the registers of the computer. And coming to disadvantages, so it is also having one disadvantage: it is not portable. So I will reveal you the answer why it is not portable. As I told you that assembly language will be stored in the registers of a computer. We can't say that every computer and every system will be having same set of registers and same set of storage. Each and every system differs in its storage and its set of registers. So since it is mainly depending upon the machine, that's why it's not portable. So even machine level language is a machine dependent, and as well as assembly language is also machine dependent. So that's the reason they are not portable. Now coming to the third type of language, it is high level language. So keeping in the mind the disadvantage of machine level and assembly language, they have invented a language called high level language. So high level language are nothing but these are also the English like instructions, like whatever things we use it to write for the C program, which can easily understand and which we can easily write the program. So even for translating, even for high level language, they needs to be converted into machine level language in order for the system to be understood. So that there are some programs called compiler or interpreter, so which are used to convert high level language into the machine level language. So here I would like to make a note of one point. Most of the people will be thinking like compiler and interpreters are tools. These are not a tools. Both compiler and interpreter are a piece of program. So therefore those are also like a programs, so which will be taking the program what we have written as input, and which will be converting the source code into the object code. For example, Fortran, COBOL, BASIC, Pascal. So these are the examples of translators. And coming to the advantages, so the most and foremost advantages, they are portable. They are not machine independent. They are machine dependent only. Like assembly languages and machine level languages, they won't depend upon the registers, or they won't depend upon the hardware dependency. So happily you can write your code and you don't think of the problems which are faced with assembly and machine level language. And coming to the next one, translators. As I told you earlier, translators are the piece of program so which are used to convert either low level languages or high level languages into machine level language. The first type of translator is assembler. So assembler is a piece of code so which will be used for converting the low level language into machine level language. Next one is about compiler and interpreter. Both compiler and interpreter are a piece of program so which are used to convert the code of high level language into machine level language, but they are used for converting the code from one form to another, but they are having one difference. So let me show you the difference. Coming to the compiler, it will scans the whole code, like whatever code we write, it will scan the whole code at a time and it will list out the output. Whereas coming to the interpreter, it won't scans the whole code at a time. It will scan the code line by line. So once one line is scanned, it will reveal out the outputs in that line. So step by step. So it is a time consuming process. So this is the main important difference between compiler and interpreter. So this is also one of the most important asked question in the interview point of view. So let me show you once again if you're not understood. So let's take I am writing a program. So when this particular program has been pre-compiled and it enters to the compilation stage, the compiler will be scanning the whole code from int main to this parenthesis. It will scan the whole code at a time and it will convert this particular source code into object code at once if there are no errors. If there are errors, after scanning the whole code, it will list out the output. Whereas coming to the interpreter, it won't scan the whole code. It will scan the code line by line whenever the code enters the compilation stage after the preprocess stage. Hope you understood. Coming to the next one, structure of C program. So this is also one of the most basic questions you need to know. So it starts with comments, preprocessor directives, global variables, main function, parenthesis followed by body of the program. So body will be consisting of local variables declaration, definition, and statements. Coming to the next one, explain about compilation stages. So one of the most foremost question which will be asked in the interview point of view. So whenever the particular interviewer asks you to explain about this particular question, don't tell orally. Try to explain on a piece of paper so that it will be easy for you to explain and it would be easy for him to understand what you're speaking about. So basically compilation stages will be of four stages: preprocessor, translator, assembler, and linker. So next question, compilation stages in detail. Now let us learn each and every stage in detail. The first stage is the preprocessor stage. So the preprocessor stage is a special feature which is found in the C programming language, which is making C programming language different from other languages. So coming to the preprocessor languages, so whenever in the C programming language, if there is any line which start with hash symbol, so it is treated as a command to the preprocessor stage. So whenever the particular C source code, when it is entering the preprocessor stage, it will check for the preprocessor directors. So if there is any line which is starting in the preprocessor directors, it will treat it as command to itself and start executing the code, like expanding the code. So now let me share you what are the functions of the preprocessor stage. So these are some of the functions which are done in the preprocessor. So macro substitution, macros with arguments, conditional compilation, including files, and removal of comments from program. So coming to macro, these are all like small piece of code which you will be substituting with one word substitute. So whenever the program enters the preprocess stage, all the substitutions will be done here only, and the comments will be removed, and whatever conditional compilation is there, it will start compiled there itself. So the comments which are there in the program gets removed here. Most of the people will be thinking whenever the program enters the preprocess stage, they will find the errors. It is wrong. In the preprocess stage, you can't find any errors. Only when the particular program enters the compilation stage only, like translator stage, then only it can find the errors. In the preprocess stage, it will needs only expansion. That's why the preprocessor code, the output what we got from the preprocessor stage, is also called expandable code. Why? Because substitutions get added here. So things to note. The first thing to note is there can be only one directive on a line. You can't write hash include stdio.h, hash include kenio.h in one line. So for one line, only one preprocessor directive should be applicable. Next one, translator stage. So translator stage is nothing but whatever source code you have written will be converted into the object code. Most of the people will be having a question, what is source code and what is object code? So don't get confused here. I'll be explaining you in simple way. So source code is nothing but the code what you will write in the C program, like hash include stdio.h, main function, int ab, all the stuff. So whatever program you are writing in C programming language, it is source code. So whatever program that has been compiled by the compilation process is called object code. So now let's talks about translator stage. So coming to the translator stage, the input will be the preprocessor code as input. So whenever the particular code enters this translator stage, it will convert the particular preprocessor code into the assembly level language. So assembly level language is English like language, like move, sub, all these instructions. So as I told you earlier, whatever errors are there in your particular program will be seen or will be seen in this particular translator stage. So whatever errors you have seen in this particular translator stage are known as syntax errors. So whatever errors you will be finding on the output window once after code is compiled, they are found in the translator stage and they are called as syntax errors. Next stage is the assembler stage. So whatever output that has been coming from the translator or the compiler stage will be fed as input to the assembly stage. So the main task of assembler is to convert the assembly language into the object code. So whatever assembly instructions are there from the output of the translator or compilation stage, it will enter to the assembler and it will be converting into the object code. So in the DOS format, the object file what has been created from the assembler stage will be having the extension of .obj, and in the Unix environment it will be having .o extension. So I'll be making a separate video so showing the compilation stages in Unix and how the particular code looks like in every stage in a separate video one time. Last stage is the linker stage. So basically in the linker stage, whatever library functions like printf, scanf are there in the other files, they are precompiled and the object code will be stored in the format of .lib with the .lib extension or .a extension. So here the main task of linker is to link the object code of our program with the object code of other functions. Like let's take an example. If you are talking about printf, scanf, getch, string char, so they are having some set of code. These functions are also predefined in other files. So what the linker will be doing is it will compile, like it will add the particular code of them with the code what we have written and will execute the particular output file. So the output file of the linker will be in the format of .exe in the DOS environment as well as with the a.out in the Unix environment. So these are all the compilation stages in detail. Hope you got some information from this video. If you're having any queries regarding my video, you can just comment out me below, and meet you in the next video from the part 2. And those who haven't subscribed my channel, please like, share and subscribe if you're liking my content and if you feel my information is valuable. So meet you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.